Welcome to the Bullvine Podcast, where we bring you the best from feature articles and news from the dairy sector. For our very first episode, we feature the legendary Huronia Centurion Veronica 20J, who has redefined the Jersey breed.
If one cow embodies excellence and leaves an indelible mark on the dairy industry, it's Huronia Centurion Veronica 20J. Known to many as one of the greatest jerseys ever, Veronica has racked up accolades that few can rival. Her achievements are legendary, with 3 consecutive Grand Champion titles at the World Dairy Expo from 2004 to 2006, and she was named Supreme Champion in 2006. This remarkable cow, bred by the Armstrong family of Huronia jerseys in Ontario, Canada, and developed by Ernie Kufner and Terry Packard and Arethusa Farms, has created a lasting legacy that's felt across both the U.S. and international dairy communities. The genesis of a breeding masterpiece, Fred Armstrong's strategic mating. It was a stroke of strategic brilliance that led to the creation of Veronica. Fred Armstrong, a recipient of Jersey Canada's Master Breeder Award, made numerous great matings, with Veronica being the crowning glory of his respected career. In early 1998, Fred, his wife Ruth, and friends Murray and Pat Mello purchased Genesis Renaissance Vivian at the Jersey Canada annual meeting. Bred by Ruth's brother Paul and his spouse Virginia Warwick, Vivian calved for the first time later that year, scoring VG87 as a 2-year-old. An utter injury prevented Vivian from advancing her score, but she eventually earned 7 stars as a Jersey Canada Star brood cow. The first mating of Vivian was with American sire Sooner Centurion, who was bred at Cedar Crest Farm by the Rankin family. Centurion's sire, Soldier Boy Boomer Sooner of CJF, produced milky and racy daughters, while his dam, Magic Cavaquet Glover X90, carried a high and wide rear udder. This combination created a fascinating genetic blend. Veronica was one of the earlier Centurion daughters at Huronia. The Centurion mating was unique at the time because it crossed production on type, a departure from the norm where most breeders believed in one or the other and didn't mix them. On the maternal side, Vivian was sired by Holly Lane Renaissance, known for the show style of his dam, Franken Monarch Rosal, a champion at the Royal and other shows. Renaissance daughters exhibited excellent body capacity, becoming more apparent with age. The Centurion x Vivian mating also produced other valuable full sisters to Veronica. Huronia Centurion Virginia rose to fame at Bryden Farms, earning an X93 3E classification and 19 stars as a star brood cow. A third full sister, Huronia St. Valentine, remained at Huronia, achieving 9 production lactations, 2 stars as a brood cow, and a Supreme Excellent 93 7E classification. The value of these full sisters lies in Centurion's siring ability and the productive lineage of the Virginia family at Swiss Belle Jerseys. Marley's Kaylee of Swiss Belle Jerseys comments, "I often wondered about all the great cows out there that stayed in the barn and never got noticed. This cow got noticed, sold, bred, and sold again. It's how the stars aligned, for it was meant to be." Dad was in the process of retiring, and I was finishing up studies at the University of Guelph. Paul and Virginia Warwick came by looking for foundation cows for their starting dairy herd, Genesis. Virginia was one of my dad's other favorite girls, so he wanted to sell them what they wanted. Selling his cows to this young couple just started helping him cope that he needed to retire from milking cows, adds Kaylee. Vivian's background included 5 generations of productive, excellent scoring, long-lived cows. The Virginia family's superb transmitting ability is evident in Veronica and extends through many other branches. They had the will to eat and milk and reproduce consistently, comments Kaylee. The mating of the production-bred sire Centurion with Vivian, from a high-style yet hard-working family, resulted in the exceptional cow Veronica. Her story continues to unfold, showcasing the pinnacle of Jersey breeding excellence. Breeding a cow like Veronica is a dream come true for us, but it takes a lot of hard work to develop a cow to this level. We are grateful to everyone who helped Veronica to stardom. Fred and Ruth Armstrong and Murray and Pat Mello, breeders of Veronica. The humble beginnings of a dairy legend. Huronia Centurion Veronica 20J was born into a legacy that promised greatness. Veronica's sire, Sooner Centurion, and her dam, Genesis Renaissance Viviane, contributed to her exceptional genetic makeup. Veronica exhibited traits that set her apart from her peers from an early age. Her excellent conformation, dairy strength, and overall presence were indicators of her future potential. Breeders who observed her in her early days noted her remarkable balance of form and function, foreshadowing her later success in the show ring and advancing the Jersey breed. Even as a young heifer, Veronica's promise was evident, capturing the attention and admiration of seasoned breeders and enthusiasts alike. Her journey inspired a deep connection and a sense of shared potential among those who followed her story. After finishing second as a fall calf at the Stratford Championship Show 2000, she caught the eye of Bryden Farms, Brian Sales, and sons Jeff, Brad, and Bruce after Bruce judged the show. Veronica was selling in the Royal Sale later that year, where Bryden would end up purchasing her in calf to Juno. The path to stardom, Veronica's formative years. For Bryden, she placed third at the 2001 Royal as a fall yearling in milk. People were starting to take an interest in Veronica as a milking yearling. For Ernie Kufner, the journey began with Premonition Grace. Intrigued by her potential, he and David Diamond visited Bryden Farms multiple times that winter. As Kufner observed, "David, look at this pretty little cow," as Veronica had caught his eye. Despite Diamond's skepticism, Kufner's admiration grew with each visit, linked to article on TPanny-K. During a conversation with Brian Sales, Kufner learned that the farm intended to keep her. However, while at a sale in California with Norman Nabholz and Brian Sales, Kufner could not get the pretty little cow out of his mind. This led to a pivotal moment. Determined to acquire the cow, Kufner, with Nabholz's encouragement, made an all-cash offer to Sales. I remember putting the Veronica deal together with Ernie and Brian Sales in California during one of Hank Van Exel's sales. We were a few $1,000s apart, which was my commission, and Ernie wanted the cow, and Bryden wanted the extra few thousand. Ernie agreed to pay me, and Brian got what he wanted, and we enjoyed the sunshine. "Deal done," commented Nabholz. Link to article on NN. Noted cattleman and Veronica's caretaker at Arethusa, Richard Caverly, recalled, "I humbly admit, with apologies to Veronica, that it was not true love at first sight for me. I did appreciate the cow, yet in a barn filled with great cattle, my vision of her greatness on that day was perhaps the biggest underestimation of my life." It did not take long for Veronica to change my mind. I returned to Paris to bring her to the U.S. When I left the Bryden, I called Gary Bowers, who introduced me to Jersey greatness. The first words out of my mouth were, "You are not going to believe this." I told him how Veronica looked truly amazing. That is a telephone call I shall never forget about a cow that always makes you remember. Link to article on RC. Many enthusiasts remember Harrisburg that fall 2002. Upon arrival, Terry and Ernie asked Nabholz if he would take a test drive with Veronica, as she could be a handful at times and had a mind of her own. The tryout went very well, so he led her in class. At the time, Nabholz owned a cow with Waverly, who was in the same class, so it was a bit touchy. As the class progressed, Veronica and Nabholz were pulled in first. On our trip to the middle, Veronica dropped her head, and when she did, the halter came off in my hand, comments Nabholz. Veronica made a victory lap or two before being captured. Of course, Paul Stiles had to rub it in. Bless his heart, Nabholz laments. In 2002, Veronica's development went into overdrive, and she became a show-stopping senior 2-year-old. Chris Flash Hill was judging the Jersey show at the World Dairy Expo. Veronica would be named Reserve Grand Champion at that show as just a 2-year-old to champion Blackie Rose of Briarcliffs, exhibited by Justin Burdett, Norm Nabholz, and Waverly Farm of Clearbrook, Virginia. But it was not that simple, given Veronica's history of taking Nabholz for a run, and Flash's love for drama. Nabholz was scared he would be going for a long run, so when Hill came up and just gently tapped Veronica, Nabholz was greatly relieved that she did not take out the whole front row of railbirds. Although Veronica never escaped again, I always respected her independent attitude. I was also a bit more than scared that if she didn't take a liking to me, she would bail on me. So I begged, to have a ring put in her nose, which Ernie begrudgingly did before her 4-year-old year. This was prompted by seeing her toss Justin Burdett like a feather at the original Legends of the Fall sale in Maryland. I could only imagine what she would do to me in front of a crowd at Madison. The little plastic noseband worked, and from then on, I would have to say Veronica was one of the neatest cows I have ever led. Showing Veronica and being eye to eye with her is quite an experience. She is one of the smartest cows ever put on this earth, comments Nabholz. She wowed them at Louisville, again being named reserve to Blackie, and then made her final voyage to Canada in mid-November 2002. Russell Gammon remembers it like yesterday, even though it was 22 years ago. To this day, I can still remember the thrill that tingled inside when I got close to the merging superstar in the royal ring. From a distance, this young cow was impressive. Up close and personal, amazing came nowhere close to describing her wonders. Those sharp, wide, flat-boned, angled ribs, correct let set and beyond smoke and utter, in addition to her indefinable and palpable presence, all let one know you are in the presence of present and future greatness. The indomitable spirit, Veronica's unyielding determination and triumphs. After being dry for the 2003 show season and selling for $86,000 to the partnership of Kufner, Packard, and Mike and Julie Duckett in the Legends of the Fall sale, Veronica calved again in June 2004. By this time, Terry Packard and Ernie Kufner were managing Arethusa Farm full-time and had moved their herd to Connecticut. Arethusa co-owner George Malcolmus III had been allowed to purchase Veronica when she stopped at Arethusa Farm in the spring of 2002 but declined, stating that he could not buy a jersey because he wanted all the cows to be black and white like the farm buildings. After seeing Veronica's success in 2002, George was ready to make an exception, and Arethusa purchased Veronica. Veronica and Norm did some leading practice at Madison in 2004 to see how they would get along with the new nose ring. After a while, they headed back toward the barn door, and Norm tried to stop her, but it didn't happen. Veronica forced her head down and broke the nose strap of the halter. Then she calmly walked into the barn and turned left into her spot in the lineup. A few days later, she not only won her first Grand Championship honor under Judge Mike Deaver, but also went to battle with herdmate and eventual Supreme Champion Hillcroft leader Melanie, who was also purchased by Arethusa on that same trip by Kufner and Caverly that Veronica was. This iconic moment still ranks among the greatest in World Dairy Expo history. In 2005, Norman Nabholz, Veronica's usual dance partner, was named the judge for the show at the World Dairy Expo. As fun as it was showing Veronica, judging her was not a piece of cake. Thank God for associates. When judging Veronica at Madison in 2005, I couldn't have asked for a better associate than Jeff Sales. In the class, after we had seen them all, Jeff and I met in the middle and talked about the cows. Veronica had been milking for a while, but still looked good. The ring is long, so Jeff and I just pulled our first lineup when we came to them. Veronica was partway around the ring and got to the lineup third. When we looked over the first pull, Jeff was adamant that Veronica win and gave me a perfect set of reasons as to why, getting somewhat graphic. Finally, I said, if you like her so well, go slap her out, which he did very quickly. For the champion, we faced Veronica milking for a long time, and Griffin was just fresh. Looking at two of my all-time favorite cows, both of which I had sold, and both were great, my buddy Jeff politely informed me that I was on my own for that one. Veronica won, and to this day, I don't know of two greater cows put together for Grand and Reserve. Mike Deaver had done the same thing with the pair the year before, recalls Nabholz. In 2006, Veronica arrived in Madison on Saturday, showing signs of illness by Sunday afternoon. On Monday, the decision was made to take her to UW-Madison Vet Hospital. With a nervous Matt Engel driving the truck and trailer, Jamie Envik rode in the back with Veronica. Talk about strange looks from the kids on campus. For the next 40 hours, Ralph Gushy and Envik catered to Veronica's every need. Envik remembers milking her on Tuesday for the slim possibility of showing her on Wednesday and clipping her udder at the vet hospital late Tuesday night. Ernie and Terry visited late Tuesday night, and we planned to talk at 4 a.m. Early Wednesday morning, her appetite started to pick up and she began to make milk again. After talking to Ernie, Ralph came to the vet hospital to pick up Veronica. During this time, rumors were circulating on the World Dairy Expo grounds that Veronica was dead. Although the doctors at the vet hospital could not pinpoint the cause of Veronica's illness, Veronica did make it back to the show. Returning to the grounds sparked her fire. She knew it was showtime. After Danhoff made the final fitting preparations, they took her outside for one last look. After some discussion and voting by a group, the final decision was made. Send her. Veronica never looked back. She put her head up high and knew she was going to the ring. She would win her class and be named Grand Champion. Even more remarkable was that she was named Supreme Champion 3 days later. Terry Packard reflects on the poignant days at the World Dairy Expo in 2006. Terry Packard reflects on the poignant days at the World Dairy Expo in 2006, sharing, "There's a story about a song that played while Veronica was in her class in 2006, following all the drama and near-death experience. I went to the ring to watch, essentially to support her. As usual, Ernie did not go, so I stood alone at the rail, watching when she was pulled. The moment was already emotionally charged, but the accordion player began his next song, the old hymn, 'His eye is on the sparrow and I know he watches me.' I swallowed hard and had to leave immediately. It's a beautiful hymn, and the lyrics were fitting that day. Yet the rest of the story is that my aunt had sung that exact song at my dad's funeral just 100 days earlier. I was shaken up, but I also felt a sense of peace or relief after the emotional highs and lows of the previous 6 days. From Supreme Champion at Harrisburg to that moment, I knew she would be okay, and we did our best for her. My dad had come to the expo, his only trip, in 2004. He had been diagnosed with cancer earlier that year, but never told my mother because she was so ill. She passed away in May of that year. A close friend insisted on bringing him to Madison to witness the show he had heard so much about and to see the cows his children were working with. My brother David was also a crucial part of our team, and my sister was also part of the crew that year. So he got to experience the big Supreme Sweep with all three of us. Standing in the Coliseum 2 years later, I felt he was watching over us again. Recalling that song makes the hair on my arms stand up. Unprecedented achievements at the Spring Dairy Carousel and beyond. Despite being allergic to FSH, Veronica was a prolific flush cow. As IVF was just in its infancy, Veronica was among the first cows to follow these protocols and responded exceptionally well. At the Spring Dairy Carousel in April 2008, Veronica and her progeny had a day that may never be matched. 4 of the Furor reindeer competed as senior 2-year-olds and placed first, second, third, and fourth, with Prancer named Reserve Intermediate Champion and Dasher Honorable Mention. Veronica was named Grand Champion, and her daughters and granddaughters brought home the Premier Breeder banner for Arethusa Farm. In June 2008, Veronica scored excellent 97-point cow, a prestigious accomplishment in any breed. A month later, Arethusa Farm hosted the record-setting Global Glamour Sale. A choice of 3 daughters of Veronica sold as the only colored breed consignment. Signature Valeda was sold to Stephen Piotrkowski, and Sharona Hill purchased Primetime Viola as the second pick. Veronica's popularity with breeders of all colors or breeds was evident in the attention she received during the open house. Veronica's legacy thrives through her extensive daughters lineup. Veronica's legacy thrives through her extensive progeny and continually excels in competitions, bolstering her stellar reputation. Among her 110 registered sons and daughters, many have left unforgettable marks in the show circuit, epitomizing the high standards of the Jersey breed. Standouts among her offspring include her 4 EX95 daughters: Elliot's Golden Vista, Arethusa Primetime Deja Vu, Arethusa Veronica's Dasher, and Arethusa Veronica's Comet. Additionally, her EX96 daughter, Arethusa Response Vivid, not only claimed the Grand Champion title at the World Dairy Expo in 2012, but was also the Reserve Supreme Champion. In 2012, she was also Grand Champion at the Royal. The achievements of Veronica's family don't stop there. In 2012, her descendants triumphed in 5 milking classes at the World Dairy Expo, and in 2014, Her maternal granddaughters maintained the winning streak with top positions in several milking classes. She also had 4 of Veronica's daughters in the class. Beyond these show wins, Veronica's daughters and granddaughters have garnered numerous All-American awards. Veronica's impact is profoundly felt. Her daughters and granddaughters have consistently dominated the competition, bringing home prestigious titles year after year. Notably, Veronica herself has been recognized as the dam of the All-American Produce for an impressive streak spanning 2009, 2010, 2011, and 2012. This recognition underscores her unmatched contribution to the breed, cementing her legacy across multiple generations. Veronica's contributions to the AI industry, a legacy beyond the show ring. Veronica's contributions to artificial insemination, AI, have been as significant as her achievements in the show ring. With 20 sons making their mark in the AI world, her legacy extends far beyond her daughters and granddaughters. Notable names like Vindication, Verbatim, and Voltage stand out among her sons, each profoundly impacting show ring results. Vindication, sired by Whistler, has produced numerous show ring stars, including Milo Vindication's season EX94, a 3-time milking class winner at the World Dairy Expo. This impressive lineage continued with her daughter, Elliot's Sterling Impression ET, the 2014 Reserve Junior Champion of the same prestigious event. Verbatim and Voltage, both equally influential, have also sired champions. Voltage, a Golden Boy son, is the sire of South Mountain Voltage Spice EX94, who claimed the title of Supreme Champion at the World Dairy Expo Junior Show in 2011. Verbatim's descendants continue to grace the show ring, contributing to Veronica's legacy. Veronica's son's consistent quality and excellence in AI programs underline her remarkable genetic influence on the dairy industry, ensuring her prominent place in the annals of dairy cattle breeding. Since her passing in 2016, Veronica's impact on the Jersey breed remains profound. Visitors and dairy enthusiasts continually celebrate her contributions, ensuring her influence endures for future generations of dairy cattle. Her ability to produce elite progeny has advanced her genetic legacy and set a benchmark for excellence within the Jersey breed. Consequently, Veronica's descendants remain highly sought after by top purebred herds, continuing to shape and inspire the dairy industry. Unforgettable memories, Veronica's legacy through the eyes of her caretakers. Veronica's diet plan at a show was the opposite of most milk cows. Curbing her eating was as much of a battle as getting a good fill on the other cows. We marked the feed pans at the shows with the cows' names, but there was no question about which pan was hers. It had many scrapes and teeth marks from her aggressive nature. David Packard. How smart she is. She knows that barn schedule and the employees, Jody and Ryan Calkins. Veronica never walks but prances as if on parade all the time. She has a zest for life I've never seen in any other animal I've worked with, which covers many great cows. Working with this cow is a true privilege. Leafy Keaton. I wouldn't call Veronica mean. She has a mind of her own and knows what she wants. If it doesn't fall in line with what you want, that's when there's a disagreement. Kari Belling. She turns ordinary moments into sensational memories. Shannon Dwyer. Reflections from Terry Packard and Ernie Kufner. Veronica's champions and admirers. Terry Packard and Ernie Kufner, 2 extremely pivotal contributors to Veronica's success and her biggest admirers, share these thoughts about Veronica. Most cows and people are lucky to have one shining moment. Her life was full of them, and just when we thought she had done it all, there was a new accomplishment. She rewrote the appraisal rules twice, came back to life at Expo, had 3 granddaughters win milking classes there 4 years later, put 4 produces of 1 cow in the ring at the same time at the greatest show in the world. What other show cow did that? We could go on and on. She gave us some funny stories too. She took a few big guys for rides at a sale in 2003. Norman truly showed herself off at Harrisburg once, eyed up Steve White at Louisville, and there are so many more. She drew people to her. All you had to do was stand behind her at a show, even when she was older, and watch the people, the parents explaining to their kids who she was, the breeders that would never have considered owning a Jersey until they saw her. She captivated people and changed their perspective. As Carrie Baling said, she turned my black and white world into one with a little more color. This is her greatest accomplishment in my mind, her legacy. She lived to see herself crowned the greatest Jersey of all time. She taught us about passion, patience, persistence, and more. We are changed people for knowing her. We were in the presence of the Queen. She carried herself with that air and expected to get what she wanted. What a blessing to be part of her life. The bottom line. Huronia Centurion Veronica 20J represents a monumental force whose influence has reshaped the Jersey breed. Her ascent from modest origins to the zenith of dairy legend exemplifies the transformative power of resilience, unparalleled genetic prowess, and the fusion of visionary breeding with meticulous care and management. Veronica's legacy will unquestionably continue to inspire and direct future generations within the Jersey community. Her lineage stands not only as a historical touchstone, but also as a blueprint for excellence and tenacity.
Thank you for joining us today for our first episode. Make sure to join us for the next episode. In the meantime, visit www.thebulvine.com for the latest news, feature articles, and dairy-related content.